Today, I'm going to show you how to set up and mount these BRS dosing pumps. So today, I'm going to hook up both of these dosing pumps to my reef so I can start dosing alkalinity and calcium so I don't have to manually dose anymore every single day. The corals in our tanks need alkalinity, calcium, and magnesium to produce their skeletal structures or their soft tissues in order to grow and thrive. After all, the main reason why I'm sure most of us got into this hobby is for the beautiful corals and the amazing colors that they produce. In order for corals to grow and not die, we need to provide them with these essential elements in a stable manner, and a dosing pump will do just that. First, you will need to calibrate your dosing pump. This is definitely a must, so you know exactly how much liquid you're actually dosing to your aquarium and not just doing so blindly. If you skip this step, you could potentially kill all of your corals and all your fish. The good thing about these BRS dosing pumps is they are already calibrated from bulk Reef supply and set to dose 1.1 milliliters per minute straight out of the box. Let's take a look at what's in this box here. See what you get when you order this pump. You get some RO tubing. You get some airline tubing. You get the actual pump itself, and this electrical cord is hooked up to it already. You also get a plate that you can mount to your canopy or stand, and it actually slides. Oh, I got the wrong way here. It actually slides in here and it's stuck there, and you can pop it off just by releasing this right here. It comes with your screws and the little wall mounts, as well as some instructions and just the overall guide and a manual on how this pump works. A few things you're going to need to calibrate your dosing pump is, one, your dosing pump, either airline or some kind of RODI tubing here, an empty container, and one that's full of water. These are the containers that come with the BRS 2-part pharma kit, and they have markings on here that show from 10 milliliters all the way to 100 milliliters. So I'm using these because it's a lot easier. And last but not least, you're going to need some kind of digital timer or an analog timer. If you don't have one of these timers yet, you can just go ahead and use the stopwatch on your phone, but you will need to get one of these timers in order for this dosing pump to work correctly. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and add the airline tubing to the pump and get my container with water and just the empty container ready to go ahead and plug in and get everything going, and we'll get this thing calibrated. On this particular pump, there is an inside where the water draws up through this side, and this little pump rotates and the water comes out from right there. So you want to make sure that this line is going into your water and this line is going out to your empty. After everything is set up, it should look something just like this. Now, I'm going to go ahead and grab my timer. I'm going to set this for 10 minutes, and then the water will start pulling out of this side, going into this side. But first, one thing we need to do is go ahead and run this pump and get it primed so we have all the liquid up in the hose and starting to come out this side. Once we do that, I'll dump this water back into here, then we can start the calibration. Now that we went ahead and got all the air out of the line and the line inside there, I'm going to go ahead and drain the water from our empty container here. Dry it out all the way so it doesn't give us any false readings here. And let's set it back up. And I went ahead and put a few black marks right down there. Each line represents 10 milliliters. So all we have to do now is turn on our electrical switch, and then I'm going to start a timer for approximately 30 minutes so I could fill up 30 milliliters of this and see how accurate this is. So on my first initial calibration, this pump produced 20 milliliters in 10 minutes. So what this basically means is this pump is running just a little faster than what BRS says it does, which it's not a bad thing, but I just needed to be aware that this pump does actually run a little faster. So I'm not setting, the pump to dose for 10 minutes and expecting 10 milliliters when in fact it'll actually dose 20 milliliters. All right, so there's 5 minutes, and we are at exactly 10 milliliters. There we have it. Now it's time to add my makeshift dosing containers. These are just some old Fritz Zyme 9 bacteria bottles that I kept just for this purpose. It's a little sketchy right there, but I think it'll be okay. For now anyways, until I get my shelf made. And then here is the calcium. Again, another Fritz Zyme 9 bottle. And this one looks a little more sketchier, but it's actually more stable than the alkalinity bottle. So now we're set. I just need to bleed the line and catch the alkalinity and calcium that will be coming out of the dosing lines on the bottom there before I dose. And we should be good to hook these up to a timer and start dosing appropriately. Now, in order to figure out how much alkalinity and calcium we're going to need to dose daily, we'll need to go ahead and test for alkalinity and then test for calcium at, say, 8 p.m. tonight. And then whatever those numbers are, we'll want to record those. So tomorrow, we'll do the same exact test at the same exact time, and then we'll get the numbers. Whatever the difference is the number, that's what your tank uses on a daily basis. So now that we have our sample water from our tank, we're going to make sure that the vial is clean using our microfiber cloth here. Turn on the HANA alkalinity checker. When it says C1, your sample is ready to be placed in the tester. We're going to hit the button here. Okay, now when it says C2, I like to shake up the reagent just a little bit. Pull the sample out of the tester. And we're going to put 1 ml of reagent into the test vial here. Let's put our cap back on so we don't spill it. And I'm going to go ahead and clean it one more time with the microfiber cloth. And I'm just going to invert it a few times just to make sure all the reagent is mixed up with the sample water. I like to use the 10 mil line where it's marked to face the front, so I know it's always getting the same exact reading. Simply close it up and we should get our result. So now we're going to go ahead and test the calcium. Just give everything a shake, even the powders, just to make sure they're not stuck together. We've got 5 mils of our tank water in the vial here. First part is to drop 5 drops of reagent A. And it says to go ahead and shake this up for 10 seconds. Now we need to put a capful, or not a capful, a little spoonful of reagent B, which is the powder. And you want to get it as level as you can. Shake this for 20 seconds. Next, we're going to take reagent C and we're going to use our syringe and suck up exactly 1 milliliter of reagent. Alright. I'm going to put the syringe in the little reagent tool and screw it onto our sample. So now you want to slowly drip the reagent into your test solution until the water turns blue. And that's the blue we're looking for right there. So let's see what the sample says. Looks like it's right at 0.13 used. So let's see here. We're looking for 87, which is between 86 and 88 here. Let's see if I can get this to focus. So our calcium is right at 435. Now we need to go to the bulk reef supply reef calculator. And we need to plug in our numbers so we can do our initial dose. So my tank volume is 50 gallons roughly. Alkalinity was at 8.2. I want to bring it up to 8.5. And let's hit calculate. So what this is saying is I need to dose 10.7 milliliters in order to get my tank alkalinity up to 8.5. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the same thing for calcium. My calcium was at 435, and I want to bring it to, that's the total water volume, 50 gallons. 435 is what the current calcium level's at. I want to bring it up to 450. Let's calculate. So we need to dose 76.7 milliliters to bring our alkalinity up to 450 parts per million. So just to recap, what we need to do first is we need to test our tank for alkalinity and calcium. 24 hours later, we need to go ahead and test it again. And these numbers will give us the amount that our tank uses within 24 hours. Then we can take the test results of day 2 and plug them into a BRS dosing calculator and figure out how much we need to dose initially to bump up our tank to whatever parameters we want them to be at. And after we do our first initial large dose to get our parameters where we want them, we could do another water test, say 24 hours later, and we should be able to predict what our parameters are going to be just based on our first initial test. I do recommend go ahead and testing your alkalinity and calcium daily at the same time for at least a week or two. That way you can keep track of what your tank is actually using, and also, you won't overdose your tank or underdose your tank. So I hope this video helps you set up your BRS dosing pump, and as always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know in the comment section below. I'll reply to every single comment, and I'm always glad to do anything to help you, whether it's about this topic or something totally random. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you can get notified anytime I upload a video.